Stolen Heaven, Secret Hell, Episode 2, Verse 1. Overview. Before we step into the first verse of this song, I want to say something that I think needs to be said clearly and without apology. Addiction takes many forms. When most people hear the word addiction, they picture something specific: a needle, a bottle, a pill. And those things are real and devastating and deserve every honest conversation we can give them. But addiction and habitual sin cast a far wider net than that. It is the pornography that someone has fought in secret for years. It is the relationship they keep returning to even though it destroys them every time. It is the substance that started as relief and became a requirement. It is the behavior that for a brief moment makes the noise go quiet and then makes everything louder. It is the gambling, the spending, the anger, the control. It is the thing you swore last time would be the last time. Whatever form it takes in your life or in the life of someone you love, the experience of it is remarkably, almost universally, the same. And that is exactly what this first verse captures. Addiction is seductive. That is not an accident, and it is not a weakness on your part. It is the nature of the thing itself. It presents itself as light. It offers calm. It whispers that this time will be different, that this time you are choosing it freely, that this time it will deliver what it promised last time and didn't. It smiles and says, just one more night. And in that moment, in the grip of the craving, in the building pressure of the need, it is genuinely convincing. The pull is real. The promise feels real. And then you give in. And something happens in that moment that I think is one of the most important things we can talk about in this series, because I have experienced it myself and I have never heard it described adequately. In the moment of giving in, there is a sensation of being someone else, of watching yourself from a slight distance, of a version of you that operates outside the boundaries of the person you know yourself to be. The thing that felt like freedom in the anticipation reveals itself almost immediately as a cage. And in the very next heartbeat, sometimes before the act is even finished, you snap back. You are yourself again, and you are looking at what just happened with a kind of horror that is almost impossible to describe. The shame is instant. The regret is total. You feel it in your chest before you can even form the thought. And then, because this is the brutal cycle of it, time passes. The shame fades just enough. The pressure begins to build again. The voice comes back quieter at first and then louder. And you feel that heartbeat again. That moment where you know what's coming and part of you is already fighting and part of you is already losing. And sooner or later, despite everything, it takes hold again. This is what the first verse of this song is describing. Not a moral failing in the abstract, not a theological concept at a safe distance, but the lived, visceral, exhausting cycle of a human being trapped in something they cannot seem to escape on their own. And here is what I want you to hear if you are in that cycle right now, or if you love someone who is. This is not who you are. This is something that happened to you, and then something you began to participate in, and then something that took on a life of its own that you did not fully consent to. The verse ends with a line that I think is one of the most theologically precise things I have ever written. I thought I chose you, but you beguiled me. That word, beguiled, is not accidental. It is the language of deception, of being led astray by something that misrepresented itself. Scripture uses this same language to describe the serpent in the garden. This is not an excuse for the choices made, but it is an honest acknowledgement that we did not walk into this with full knowledge of what it would cost us. The shame you carry is real. The cycle is real. The exhaustion of fighting and losing and fighting again is real. But so is the God who is about to enter this story. For those of you watching someone you love go through this, I want you to hold on to something as we walk through this verse together. What you are seeing in them is not simply a choice being repeated. It is a war being fought and lost and fought again. The shame they carry after each failure is not nothing. It is evidence that the person you love is still in there, still aware, still fighting even when it doesn't look like it. As we move through this verse line by line, we are going to sit with the honest weight of what addiction and habitual sin actually feel like from the inside. We are not going to rush past the darkness to get to the light. We are going to name it clearly, because the God who meets us in it is not afraid of it, and He has never walked away from anyone who found themselves here. What does the cycle described in this verse bring up for you, whether in your own life or in watching someone you love? You don't have to share details, but if you're willing, let us know you're here. Someone else on this journey needs to know they're not alone.